So we are now going to look at Regulation 5, which pertains to food premises. So basically what we're looking at here is the location, is the design and layout, and the construction of the food premises, including the material and equipment used. So there are very basic things that we would need to understand, that, the way that your food premises is built, it must be built in such a manner that does not compromise the quality of your food. You must make sure that the material that you are using in building your facility is in no way going to cause contamination of your food. So the basic things that you're going to have to look at, the material, we're going to look, are you using wooden material in your facility? Is it going to absorb moisture? Maybe if it is a humid environment, let's say, for an example, where you are producing cheese, there's a lot of moisture that is created in such a facility. Are you going to be using stainless steel material? Because you obviously do not want to use chrome coated material, because if it is chrome coated, that could cause rust. It can rust. We are also going to look at whether the equipment used is suitable for the facility. For an example, not using mops, cotton mops, because the cotton can fall into the product, causing physical contamination. Can also keep microbiological contamination because of the nature of that cotton mop. So in terms of the location, we're looking at, where is it located? Is it located in an area that has a lot of poisonous or offensive gases around? Does it have the area where you are locating your facility? Is there a factory nearby that is releasing soot deposit dust? Or is it by an area where there is maybe a waste site that could result in contamination? So basically, you have got to consider all those factors to ensure that your facility is not contaminated. And in terms of the interior surfaces, as I've explained, you look at the flooring that you are using. Is it not absorbent? You ensure that there is no way that moisture can be absorbed onto your floors. You make sure that there are no crevices on the floor that will result in your facility being contaminated. You look at the design and also the location of machinery. Are you able to move it around? Are you able to clean behind that machinery? Are you able to clean underneath it? Are you able to clean on the ceiling, on the roof, etc., on high-level areas to prevent contamination? So those are the things that you've got to look at. And also in terms of your walls, are they washable? Are they non-absorbent? Are they made of material that will prevent any contamination, mold formation, etc.? And if you are working in a very humid area, you may have to consider ensuring that there is sufficient ventilation. There is also extraction fans that we are using to take that moisture out. For an example, as I made an example, in a cheese processing factory, in a milk processing factory, there could be moisture or steam that is released, and it would need to get out. In another example that you could think of is, if you are making dried fruits in a very big facility, you would want that moisture to get out. Maybe you are using a preservative such as sodium metabisulfite, which releases a lot of gas. So you'd want that moisture to be taken out. And also, the control of moisture allows the prevention of growth of something like yeast and mold in the air that can cause contamination of your food. So those are the things that you need to consider. In terms of, I do know, take note that the standard is specified in terms of what are the requirements. But in the food industry, look, we are not building experts. So you would look at, can I see my product? That's the most important thing. Is the area where I'm at, can I breathe in that area? Can I see what I'm doing? So those are the things that we'll use to measure. But you can obviously consult with the builder to ensure that these requirements are met. But if we look at the very basic build of your facility, whether you can see the food, is there no moisture present in that facility? In terms of lighting, it's the same thing. If there's natural light, that is all good and well. If there's artificial light that we are using, you must ensure that there is no way that the type of lighting that we are using can cause contamination. For an example, you must make sure that the lights that you are using, they are either built in a manner that if they break, they don't get into the food, or if they break into small fragments, there is something that covers them. So those are the basic things that we would look at. Wash-up facilities, there must be either warm water or hot and cold water, because we know that the warm water controls the growth of microorganisms. Pest control normally would hire a contractor that is qualified to do pest control services, but at the same time, if it's a small facility, you can use the best available method. For an example, you may decide that instead of using chemicals, you'd use something else, like you make sure that you use, some people use mint to keep flies away, and some people use different methods. So it's entirely up to you, for as long as if I come to your facility, there is no evidence of pest. But in an area where pests are prone, the inspector may require you to use the services of a qualified pest control operator, where they do know that maybe there is a prevalence of rats, there's a prevalence of mice, there's a prevalence of insects. They may require you to contract, and it's easier that way if you have got a contracted person doing your pest control. Then also waste control, very basic. Make sure that your facility is controlled. In terms of waste, you put it in the required bins. They are labeled, and you separate your waste. You remove it, food waste, at least on a daily basis. Then toilet and hand washing facilities, they must be sufficient for your facility. And this is a guideline on how many toilets you should have. And you'll see here they're saying that the number of staff members plus the maximum number of customers from whom a provision is made to consume food on any premises at any one time. So if you've got 10 staff members and you are expecting 50 customers at any given time, then you'll fall under this category where 60 are required. Okay. So that will be it for today. Thank you, and I do hope that you enjoy the rest of the course.